Good day, family. Ron Holland here, host of Community Voices on Old School 105.3 and Praise 100.9. As you are aware, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. According to the American Cancer Society, breast cancer is a common form of cancer among American women. But today, we're not going to talk about victims. We're going to talk about survivors. Today, we're talking with breast cancer survivor, Susie Bell. Susie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. As you know, there are about 232,000 diagnoses of breast cancer each year, a big number.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about the process of being made aware that you are diagnosed with cancer.
Actually, for me, being notified that I had breast cancer came as a shock because no one in my family had it. So my knowledge base of breast cancer and what it does in our community, I knew nothing of it.
Yeah.
So telling me I had breast cancer was like, oh, okay, immediately, oh my God, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
So they actually called me on that day, and you know, I don't know if you guys are aware of the process of being diagnosed. You have to have a mammogram, then you have to go in and have a biopsy. You have to analyze those cells to see if there are cancers, and then they advise you, because I know, speaking, a lot of women think it's just the mammogram that's cancer. No, the mammogram highlights an area of deficiency within your breast, but it's actually the biopsy that determines what stage or what level of cancer you actually have.
Now, you must have endured a whirlwind of emotions. Talk
Absolutely.
about that very first moment. What was it like for you?
That very first moment when I was notified I had cancer, for me, I was afraid. Not afraid for me, but afraid to tell my mom.
Yeah.
Because, you know, my mom's a pastor, and being a God-fearing woman, I knew immediately, okay, I know God's going to work this out, but how am I going to tell her that her daughter has cancer? So my immediate response was, how am I going to shelter my family? And then I'm the first one. They're going to look at me to see how I'm going to react. But God-fearing woman, again, I prayed about it. And in that moment, God let me know that, you know, what he needed to do with me and through me.
Now, how did your family and friends, particularly your mom, how did she handle the news?
Well, my mom, first of all, she fell out. She cried, she screamed on the phone.
She's a pastor now. She
and I was like, well, Mom, you know, I'm going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. And then as soon as she found out that I was okay, she was okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, God has this. What are we going to do? And we immediately went into fight mode. We're going to fight through, and we're going to be warriors at the end.
Now, you have children?
I have one son.
Okay, and how did he handle the news?
He, you know, at the time he was a teenager, he was 17, and being told that your mom has breast cancer, and your mom being the strongest person that you've seen in your life, not be as strong as she was, he battled. And in our community, you know, the mother sometimes is that pillar sometimes in the families.
Sure.
And him seeing me battle and go through a lot of stuff caused him to battle, caused him to react, caused him to question, you know, she's not strong, this is the strongest person, what am I going to do? So trust me, we had some moments there where I had to remind him, you know, I'm sick, but I'm still your mom. I'm still going to, you know, push through this, but we made it through.
Now, this again is a journey fraught with so many different emotions. What are most days like for you?
Most days for me, or they're difficult, because I don't know if you guys are aware, with breast cancer, just because the cancer is gone doesn't mean your body's back to the norm. For me, I have an entire band around my entire body that has, you know, scar tissue damage, that has nerve damage. So, you know, it feels like a tight vice all the time. You know, you can't sit up for long periods of time. You can't travel a lot. You know, then you have, you know, you don't have, when they remove so much of your breast tissue, you don't have the normal blood that flows through your body. So you can sit here, and I can be outside at a football game and it's 30, 40 degrees. Everyone else is bundled up and I'm fine thinking I'm okay, but I'm actually going into stages of hypothermia because of the effects that you have. So you just have to make sure that you know your limitations, you know your body, you know what you can and what you cannot do, and you wake up each day as an extra day you have to get it right.
Now, what is the specific type of breast cancer you have?
I was diagnosed with DCIS, which is ductal carcinoma. breast cancer. For me, it was still confined into the actual milk duct, so it hadn't actually progressed out when I was first diagnosed. Throughout my diagnosis, it actually spread out and started moving. So I was one of those rare cases where, one, they found it as early as they did, but then I went immediately from stage 0 to stage 1. It started traveling very fast. So I'm here standing, you know, not only as a survivor, but as a thriver and a victor, because, you know, it could have been worse.
Now, breast cancer is certainly hitting African American women
absolutely.
really hard.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about how African American women are enduring breast cancer.
What I found is with the African American women in our community, we don't want to talk about an illness. We don't want to talk about I was sick, I made it over. We just want to hear I have a testimony, I made it over. But we don't want to show the transition through that. So a lot of women in the community, I found when I go and speak, I'm the only one.
That certainly is a detriment to the community, because you want to demonstrate that there are going to be bad days. Coming out on the other side of victory is okay, but you want, particularly when you want to instruct women, when you want to guide them, they need to know the difficult days.
Absolutely. So I shared everything from diagnosis, day 1. I had up days. One day I was, hey, this is the best day. The next day I was down as low as I could be. And I tell these women, when I go out in the community and I speak, and I'm the only minority in the room, and I'm questioning, where are we at when we're dying at a higher rate than our counterparts? The reasons we're dying is because of awareness. We're not aware of what you're looking for. Everyone was looking for a lump. I had a rash. No one told me to ever look for a rash. Never knew that. So I make sure I tell people it's not just that lump. Stop looking for the lump. It's okay, but there's rashes also. There are other things that you can look for in your bodies. And I also tell these women, when you're out here and I'm the only one in the group, but we're dying, where are our faces? Where are our voices at? We're making it through this, but a lot of us are not making it because of the health insurance. We don't have the proper coverage to get the proper treatments, or we wait, oh, I just don't want to know I'm sick. No, I want to know what I have so I have a fighting chance.
You know, I see you wearing a cross. Talk a little bit about your relationship with God, because when a woman or anyone diagnosed with a particular type of disease, they begin to question God. Did you find yourself questioning God?
I questioned God several times, and being a woman of God, I know that you can question him as long as you're coming from a pure place. That day when I was diagnosed, I immediately hung up the phone and I prayed and I asked God, what is this that you want from me? What are you doing? Why me? Because I'm walking in your will. I'm doing what you want me to do. So
but
why
I still
me?
Got diagnosed.
Why me? And you know, in that moment, he told me, why not you? I need to build your armor. I need to borrow your body for a moment so I can use your voice. And in that moment, I trusted him. Throughout all the diagnosis, all the surgeries, all the treatments, everything, I continued to trust him. People thought I was crazy because they didn't hear what God told me. And no matter how bad it was, he kept building and building and building my armor. So now I go speak. I even made it. I landed here. I'm on the TV. I speak everywhere. And I realized I went through this, and he removed all of those things that I thought made Susie, so he can really show me who Susie was.
Right. We only have a couple of minutes left, but I do want to ask you, what message, because there are going to be some women today, this afternoon, later this evening, they're going to receive that diagnosis. What message would you convey to them?
I would like to convey to them, walk in your witness. Don't walk where you're at, walk where you want to be. You may be walking through Babylon, but you know you're going to get to Zion. Dress and feel the way you know you're going to come out of it. If you know you're going to be a victor, dress as you've already won the battle. And trust him. Trust God no matter what it is. He's going to heal you one way or the other. He's going to work it out.
Now, you mentioned, you know, health insurance and lack of coverage. Are there resources available for women?
There are actually resources out there, and they are available. And if you go to American Cancer Society's webpage, they can match you up with people who help. If you want to go and email me at teamsusiebell@yahoo.com, I can put you in contact with people who can help with grants to help pay for medicines, to help with, you know, I manage the Reach to Recovery process with American Cancer Society. We help you get rides. There are resources out there. You just have to be willing to let someone know I'm going through and I can't do it alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Susie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing the information and sharing your story, because it's certainly indicative of a lot of women out there struggling with breast cancer. Certainly appreciate it. Thank you again for joining us today. If you would like more information about some of the organizations available to assist you with diagnosing breast cancer and all of the things that goes with it, certainly you can log on to our websites, oldschool1053.com and praisecharlotte.com. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's Community Voices. I'm your host, Ron Holland. We'll talk with you next time.